We're live.
We apparently are live, yeah. So, welcome in everyone to episode 120
120.
of Barely Educated. We are here to talk about the big Bears win over the Commanders,
Bears.
episode 120, or as I like to put it, 110 yards less than DJ Moore had tonight. This was the DJ Moore game for me.
Ooh, not the Dick Butkus game, my friend.
Not the what? You cut out.
The Dick
Uh-oh.
Butkus game, not the Dick Butkus game.
They needed 51 to make it to Butkus game. No,
Oh,
that was
true,
that was cool
true.
that they won on this sad day. Yeah, it's a good thing to go ahead and mention, right? Like I'm sure everybody knows by
Yeah.
now that would listen to us, but Dick Butkus, Bears legend, passed away.
Bears
We'll obviously
legend.
break down the game in a minute. I wanted to ask you this though. Once I heard the news, I was like, I'm gonna have to ask my Bears historian.
Yeah.
Where do you rank him all time on the Bears list of players?
Guess.
Hey.
In terms of Bears or in terms
Yeah, you
of
keep breaking
NFL?
up. What's going on with your connection?
Uh oh.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
it's early. Shugo says, "Wow, early." It's early in terms of the sense of the game, but it's late in terms of me driving 8 hours tomorrow. So I gotta
True.
knock this out. All right, sorry. I'm hoping your connection's better now, Chris.
Yeah. Sorry. Is it better now?
It does seem better now. So where would you
Okay.
rank Butkus on the list of all-time Bears?
I guess number 2 is
Yeah, he
what I
doesn't
would
pass
say.
sweetness, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, who's
I
it
can't think
between
of.
him and who for 2?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe, maybe like Sid Luckman, or
Urlacher? I think it's
maybe.
hard. At some point, we have to put the parameters, right? Like, relative to their era
Yeah.
and their big picture impact, I think he's a really strong too.
Mm. Yeah.
And, like, no
I
one's
think.
saying he was, like, more athletic than Urlacher or something like that. But
Right. Right.
I think he's the second, like, most important Bear.
Do you remember when NFL did their top 100 all time? About, was it like
Mm.
7, 8 years ago?
Yeah, it was a while, but yeah.
Butkus was 10 on that, and
Hmm.
Walter was 5. So I thought it was pretty cool. The Bears did
That's pretty
2
cool. Yeah.
in the top
And like
10.
you see all the guys like the old guard that are actually trying to keep up with the new tech, like Brian Baldinger and those guys.
Yeah.
Being like, this is the guy we grew up with, and it was kind of cool seeing people celebrate him.
Yeah.
Obviously, thoughts and prayers to the family. I think he was 80, so it wasn't like entirely unexpected. I mentioned
Right.
driving. That's actually so we can go visit my parents at my sister's, and my dad is actually 80.
Oh
So I'm
wow.
keenly aware of, oh, hey, you're not as far away as Colorado. We need to hop over there.
Hmm.
Right? Like I get that any moment, you know. So yeah, that's true too. Shugo says a hard 80. Yeah, with the way he played and everything else goes with that.
Yeah.
So it's cool to get a win on a night that was, you know, a tough night for Bears Nation in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
and for the franchise. But yeah, so DJ Moore, man.
DJ Moore. Yeah.
That's
You
the
know,
story to me.
I gotta
First,
agree with you. I guess.
just
Yeah.
as a starting point, right?
Yeah. What were his final yards?
230.
Two.
So DJ Moore beat the Commanders and the refs. That's what's really amazing. They
Yeah.
screwed him out of another. What would he have? Another like 30 or 40 yards and a touchdown at the end of that play.
Yeah. And they.
So he would have broke the Bears' single game record. He was almost at it. It was 249 by Jeffrey. Does anybody know how many TDs Jeffrey had that game? I still think this might have been the best single game when you combine the two stats.
Hmm.
And he would have had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Of course, he might not be in at the end if that one was a touchdown. So, like, I get that I'm kind of being cheeky here. But he didn't step out in any view that I saw.
No, and they didn't show a replay or
They,
question
like, showed
it.
when it going to break and it didn't have the angle of it.
Yeah.
I think the All-22, of course, will tell us. There'll be angles somewhere in that. But
Yeah.
I'm just begging the NFL to do this. Stop blowing it dead. Any play like that, just let it play out, and then you can review it if you need to. I was talking with Cousin Native, and he pointed that out, that this was just another example of how dumb it is that they don't let the play go.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, for sure. We usually see it on, like, scoop and score. Was it a fumble or not? Or was the QB's arm going forward? But, like, this is exactly the same problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know why this is so hard for the refs. Don't blow it dead unless you 100% know. And why didn't
Yeah.
Eberflus challenge it? Was it on the other
Yeah,
sideline?
that's-
I can't remember. I'll have to see the All-22.
I had to wonder, does he teach the players not to complain about calls? Because there was in the first quarter, Mooney, do you remember that? Like it looked
Yeah.
like he was clearly hit before, and Mooney didn't say a thing.
I saw
The play
Fields
to
talking to
DJ.
somebody. It looked like the ref in the second half, though, coming out of a commercial break. Like he had jogged down and
Okay,
then he was jogging back. And I was like, wait, was he talking to a ref? Hard to
you know,
say. There are a lot of bad calls, though. I thought Mooney got interfered with in the end zone because he never turned around for the ball. Mooney's got to high point that, and Justin's got to put a little less air under it. So,
yeah,
like, sometimes you don't get the call if the play's not ran quite perfectly, maybe, but that doesn't matter. The ref shouldn't be evaluating that. They should just make the call. I thought Fields was roughed, right? Roughing the passer on, was
yeah,
it Allen? Jonathan Allen slammed him
yeah. It
down.
picked him up and slammed him down. Since
I
when
was
is
like, oh my
that?
gosh, he's going to hurt his shoulder. And then there was one other one, besides the Moore one, I think there were like four. But the first three, like the Moore one is like awful. The Mooney one and the Fields one were pretty bad. And then I think there was a DPI that was a little suspect. And then they called the one back. They picked up the flag,
Yeah,
which was great because I think the league needs to look at that rule too. Like underthrown DPI, they got to change
yeah,
how that works because the
yeah.
defenders don't have a chance.
That's how Green Bay beat. Who was the one team they beat after? The Saints.
Saints, yeah.
Because yeah,
Because that was
Jordan
like all
Love
their
had two.
yards that last drive
Yeah,
or whatever.
two
The fourth
underthrown
quarter.
balls drove him 67 yards. Yeah. So, but so what? Where should we go? Should we talk about the third quarter because that did not look so good, or the second half in general, or do you want to talk
Man,
about?
let's telescope out for a second.
Okay.
It's a good thing they won for the players. Like I watch them battle, and I'm seeing, dude, who was even in at corner at the end?
Yeah.
They're dropping like flies.
Yeah.
They're still playing hard for this coach. I still think it's a very poorly coached team relative to what an NFL expectation should be.
Tackling
I'm glad they
especially.
won because I hate the losing streak, and
Hmm.
I'm glad Fields gets a win because man, he tries so hard, and you know he takes it hard. I'm so happy for the players.
Yes, agreed.
I think we should be careful not to overdo it. The defense is still a mess, but the offense is putting up numbers. Except for, what happens when somebody doubles DJ? Are we going to see more Mooney and Komet then? But hey, Fields is playing better. Let's just keep building on that. But I think we got to be careful not to get like suckered in a sense, not because of Fields, but because I still think the defense has the potential to just mess up any potentially high scoring game.
Yep.
But I said I wanted to see it more from Fields. He had played a really good game.
We did.
Not perfect, but he played good. I mean, the Denver game was his best game. He finished better, and these two games blow the first three games completely out of the water.
Yeah.
It felt to me a little bit like the New England game, only it wasn't all him running.
Right,
Where you're watching a
right.
primetime game, you're like, hey,
Yeah.
this looks a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But he was throwing. And the best thing was he was throwing the ball away. I wouldn't say he was really manipulating the pocket, but he wasn't panicking in the pocket. I didn't see a single play where I was like, no, what are you doing? Throw the ball or run, or why are you running now? Like all those plays the first 3 weeks where it looked like he was just totally lost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we had that. Even the bad snaps, he's like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll run for 10 yards. Cody Whitehair's a terrible center because he can't snap the ball. He might be better at blocking than all the rest of them, but it doesn't matter if Fields is the tweets that were going around of him being
OBJ.
Odell Beckham trying to get.
Like, oh, yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
But there were things.
So I
like,
think we got to be careful not to be like, okay, they're fixed, but man, it's great for the Steelers to get a win. I'm glad they got it, and
not saying they're fixed.
I was definitely in full meatball mode, wanting to win that one because they were playing so well.
That's
I'll be
right.
honest, if it's like 16-13 at the end, I'm like, I don't even care. But I was like, man, if Justin and DJ don't get this win, what are they? They got to think they're never going to get one.
Yeah. Especially
now,
after last week. Yeah.
Let's do the offense first because Shugo's already given us some comments there.
Yes.
And then we'll come back to evaluating what the D did. So if he says Getsy can't counterpunch to save a half or his job, I mean they came out in the third quarter really bad again. I remember last year thinking they did okay adjusting in some of the games. It's been bad all 5 games.
Yeah. Today I texted you about this. It seemed like Washington all of a sudden remembered, oh yeah, we have a good front four. We can put some pressure on.
And my take on that, again, it's always tricky post game until you get to see the All-22.
Yeah.
My take on that is, once the running back that was killing them was out of the game,
Right.
they're just teeing off on the pass rush. And Borum's today.
Ooh.
Bourne can't block a guy like Chase Young, right? That's just not. He's not fast enough.
Yeah.
Nothing personal. It's just he doesn't have the skill set to do that for an entire game, and they're moving those guys around. Chase Young, future Chicago Bear, perhaps.
Could be. That would be
Great.
nice. I'll take
Can't
that.
pay all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at the third quarter specifically, the pass rush was fierce from Washington, and I don't think you can really say much besides Fields didn't turn it over, and that's a win.
Yeah.
That might be a low bar, but he didn't try to play hero ball and commit a turnover. I love that he was throwing it away with a lead. It may be like frustrating if you're trying to come back.
Yep.
But with a lead, I thought he played smart, and I don't think it would be fair to really analyze or critique him too much because they were bringing it. And then in the fourth quarter, they still made a couple big plays, and we got the wonderful Kari blazing game carries. There's just something funny about them. Am I crazy?
Hank. No, I
He's
love
just
it.
like,
I love it.
Oh, yeah, I got a yard. Oh, he got 4 yards. How do you turn that into this?
Big man with football. Yes.
Just
yes.
not gonna stop churning those feet.
Mm-hmm.
And it was predictable, and they were trying to run out the clock, and they coached that way, and it's gonna hurt them again in some game. Like I feel like it is kind of coaching scared a little bit, but at the same time, like you don't have your lead back. If you can't keep them a little honest, they're teeing off on your quarterback. I don't know what Getsy's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Once Herbert's hurt and they're one-dimensional.
And Johnson was out too.
But they started that first third quarter drive terribly.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the backs were hurt because then the guy who never plays gets hurt.
Yep.
I can't remember his name. I'm like, how did he get hurt? He hasn't even touched the ball yet.
And what's his name was inactive. So
yep.
the top 3 running backs were gone.
Yep.
So yeah.
And then the center gets hurt, who stinks. That's like the joke there was somebody tweeted that like
how do you
they
know
have the rare opportunity to improve due to injury mid-game.
Oh, no.
In the blocking, yes, but man, Whitehair snaps. But then again, like how much has he been snapping right now?
Right. Yeah.
You got 10 days to get him up to speed. Stop the Lucas Patrick experiment.
Yeah.
Begging you.
Well, wasn't
Quit
the plan?
jerking these guys around. Jenkins is back. He's the guard.
Yeah.
Whitehair can play center if he can clean up the snaps in the next 10 days.
Wasn't the plan for him to play center this year anyway?
Initially, yeah. And I was a little skeptical because I remember him struggling with snaps before, but he's good at the rest of it.
Whoa.
So like, maybe we can figure that out. At least you have an athletic enough quarterback that it's not necessarily a guaranteed disaster.
Yeah.
Shugo says about Blazing Game, he was excited to get touches. Absolutely.
Yes. We were excited for him
I
to
was
get
having
touches.
a good time with that. I thought it was funny.
It's like a
but
bowling
to
ball.
be fair, like he got them to a couple third and shorts.
He did. Yes.
And then they converted the one, which ended up being a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not 3rd and 2, do they throw that little out route to Moore that he, the corner tries to pick and Moore gets it and scores? I don't think that's the play if it's not 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
So Blazing Game gets a little love from me. Sure, he ran hard.
I love it. That final touchdown. There were a couple plays like that haven't gone the Bears' way yet this year, and tonight they did. Like the defender got his hand on that ball, but Moore still came down with it and ran off.
When he jumped for it, I was like, "Oh gosh, no!"
Okay.
Yeah. Oh! All right, this game's over. Like the full swing of Bears fans' emotions in the snap. Reaction to that.
The bad snap that Fields grabbed and was able to go right up the gut for a first down. Like stuff like that hasn't happened.
And Herbstreit, it was kind of all over the place in a lot of ways, but he's like, "This is a play we should remember because that was a big deal." And I was like, yes, that actually was a big deal. It's a great play that's only going to look like a 10-yard run in the box score, but could have been a disaster. Shugo asks if Jenkins is back. The answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
He appeared to be on a snap count in the first half, and then after Patrick got hurt, right, he pretty much played the entire second half.
Yeah, I think so.
So Jenkins got through a half, which is great news.
Well,
yeah, he's fun to watch. He's still good. He definitely makes that line way better.
Yes, he does. It moves everyone
Davis
down.
Davis had a good game. There were a couple great plays where the linemen came up behind and gave a good push to people.
Yep.
They played hard. I still think the coaching is more or less bad, but they played hard.
The fourth, once the game was in
Carter
hand,
was in some too, so I guess there was a pitch count the whole game. I got to see the snap counts for the what's the name? Fishbane will have it like within the next probably a couple hours, but I'll probably go to bed. But like tomorrow it'll be out for sure. Are you losing it? No, the Bears did win.
Not losing it. No.
I think over the bye they might try Carter at tackle.
Oh, okay. Instead
They're
of
gonna.
Borum.
Well, Bourne, man, it was a rough game. I mean, I know
Yeah,
that's a good D line. I don't want to be too hard on the swing tackle, but what is Carter better? I doubt it. I don't really know, but
he's younger.
sign
I
Lyle
guess only about a
Collins.
year.
What's the status of Braxton Jones?
Yeah, don't know.
Like, what's actually going on there? It's going to be an interesting time now. Do you think Eberflus has saved his job for now? Would they be gutsy enough to fire him after a win?
No, they're not
They
going to do
won't.
that
They
after a
won't,
win.
right?
No, but clearly the problem is the defense, big picture, because you had 30 points. Your offense scored 30 points,
And
we're all
looking
sitting
Eagles.
there. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the defense. But once the game was in hand, I don't know, the line suddenly was able to get consistent pressure. What they get, like 3 sacks in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, and they could have had like 8 or 9 on the game.
Yeah, they
Remember
got
that
to wrap
Howell's
up.
trying to hold the ball forever?
Mm-hmm.
Look, man, Sam Howell was pretty entertaining and fun to watch. He's like Baker Mayfield meets Carson Wentz,
Oh,
right? It's like pure chaos. You don't know
interesting.
what's going to happen, and every now and then you're like, how did he do that?
Yeah.
How did we not tackle him so much in the third quarter? It was I was like pulling my hair out. They
Yeah,
don't wrap
that was
up. The Bears do
frustrating.
it. They just
No.
like dive into. They don't wrap up well at all.
Mhm.
I thought the secondary was pretty bad, but it's like, yeah, but other than Stevenson, who's even at corner at that point?
Exactly.
Like, I can't really be too hard on the coaches there.
You're missing 1, 2, 3 starters,
And then
right?
2 more guys get hurt during the game. I think one came back, but
Mm-hmm.
the rookie didn't. No, I agree. Shugo says the coaching staff has been fired in my mind since week 1. Same here in terms of by the end of the year or
Yeah.
at the end of the year.
For sure.
There was this whole discussion about whether a bad loss to Washington would get him fired tomorrow because you'd have the mini bye. All I'm saying is he saved himself from that latter scenario. I still
Yes.
think he's got to win more to save his job overall.
Mm-hmm.
And I am, for whatever it's worth, really happy that we don't have to worry about the stupid losing streak
Yes.
or an unvictorious season, which after the first couple weeks, you were like,
Who
are
can they
really
be?
bad?
Yeah,
Yeah,
mhm.
it's like a real question.
Yeah.
So there's some relief there. The tank can still march on if it needs to, depending on what happens.
well, the tank can exist through Carolina.
And it can exist through Carolina.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. What if the Bears somehow rattle off 6, 7 wins this year, which is the ceiling now.
Yeah.
They could still get the first pick because of Carolina. Yeah. So here, Fields. I want to just quick look at his stuff here. 282 yards, fine. 2/3 of that is DJ Moore. It's kind of funny.
Yeah,
4
did you see the
TDs.
stat about his rating when he's targeting DJ Moore?
Perfect, right?
It's basically perfect. What a great nugget. By the way, the Amazon broadcast is terrific when it comes to putting you in positions to be a more informed fan.
Yeah,
They do
that's
a great
true.
job
That's
giving
true.
you new stats and new data. They're lapping everybody else in that respect. Camera
Yeah.
work could be a little iffy. They gotta
Yeah,
have a
and
better replay
replays
on
of
that
close plays. Yeah,
DJ Moore play.
got to see the all 22 on that.
Yeah,
DJ Moore
Shugo
play, yeah.
says, I hate lame duck situations, though. If I had the power, I would jettison him. Yeah, well, I
Yes.
would have probably fired him
So-
after the third game.
Yep, mhm.
After the Chiefs game, I'm probably done with him. So you're not going to hear me trying to say he's a good coach anytime soon.
Yeah.
But they were playing hard today, and I'm not going to sit there and throw darts at Getsy when they put up 40.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah, and
just
it was
not. Like they had a plan that worked. They kept attacking aggressive corners with their best player, DJ Moore. It'd be nice if they don't forget about him the rest of the way.
and it was all the offense. There were no defensive touchdowns or
No big returns that set them up. Now they had
yeah.
the fourth down that gave them the chip shot field goal, right?
Yeah, they had 37
That's
at that
nothing.
point.
They scored 37 legit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Buddy Brian says, I think you're gonna like this one. Where's the falsetto?
where is he? Buddy Brian. I thought I was looking to see if
is
it was
that
on the
going to be
chat.
the thing now? The
Buddy
live streams, you don't get one unless you're in the chat,
Ooh.
which means Shugo's going to get like 800 of them.
Shugo.
He says there have been so many moments where I've been like, Fields has to want to get as far away from the Bears franchise as he can. It's nice for him to get a win. Here, let's go Bears chants all game in Washington, and I would add really loud at the end.
Yes.
And Bears fans still all over the stadium as he gives his post game, which we'll have to
Yeah.
catch up later on that.
Oh yeah, yeah, true. I forgot about that. Maybe that's why we're now.
I actually prefer catching the highlights with those kind of things on Twitter because like not that much is said anyway usually.
Yeah.
But
Mhm. Are you concerned at all about Fields being 15 of 29 tonight? That's lower than he was last week. It's lower than I would like. I don't want him floating around 50%. I want, 60 at the minimum and maybe closer
Yeah,
to
like
65.
well, we talked about that at the start of the year. I'm still definitely in that mindset with you, though I have kind of taken it down a notch just because I'm okay with him throwing it away.
True. Okay. All right.
And several of them were like, okay, he threw it away. Sometimes it looks like a bit of an adventure when he throws it away. I'm like, is that ball going to get to the sideline?
Yeah.
You're like waiting for a defender to grab it.
Yeah. So okay, I was leaning in that direction, but wanted to ask you as well because he's typically he's got a higher completion percentage than that normally, but with 4 touchdowns, it's hard to.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
just some gorgeous
DJ
passes.
really is the whole story there. Like
Mhm.
Fields was fine. He was really good. Denver first half, especially, was some of the best QBing the Bears have ever seen in their
Mhm.
franchise history. And then you had some batted balls, which that's a problem still.
Yeah.
Because
Don't want
eventually they're
that.
going to give a couple intercepted. And almost always, I think those plays are he's taking too long. Like the one that he was trying to throw to Herbert before he got hurt, Herbert got hurt. He does the whole double clutch thing. It's like just get that ball out, and the defender's not there yet.
It looked like he had that moment of should I run it or should I throw it?
Yeah, and I was like, no, we're not doing this again. We're done with this.
Justin.
So Justin was good. He was great until the fourth quarter versus Denver. You know what I mean? Like if we're trying to like analyze the two, but this I would say still fairly counts as building on the big leap that Denver was.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted him to keep doing it, and I wanted to see him do it against better defenses. Their line would count, but I don't think their secondary does.
Yeah, it's a minimal
better.
improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
in terms
not a
of
good
a
defense just yet because I think their back end stinks.
Yeah.
Oh man, that throw to Moore in the end zone, was that the second touchdown?
The one in the fade? Or
it was what they always call the hole shot, where it's the hole in the cover two. Where the
that was the first one, I think.
That's like that was the first one. That's a real big boy NFL Justin Herbert kind of throw. And like that's one of those you got to have a rocket to get that in there in time, and that was like awesome to see. I wanted to make sure we shouted that out. A lot of the rest of it was DJ doing DJ things after the catch.
Yeah, another touchdown to Komet. That was a good throw and catch.
He's productive. I think we got to be careful with how we think about Komet. If we want him to be a dynamic playmaker after he catches it, not the guy for it. Just get down before you fumble.
Yeah, he just looks clumsy when he's running with the ball. It's weird.
But it's fine when he's like running a route, and as long as he doesn't, have a miscommunication with Fields like at the end of the Denver game, he's pretty productive.
Yeah, good.
I'm telling you, that contract at 12 does not kill you at all.
No, it doesn't. But I just wish
10th-ish tight end in the league. That's about the right number for him to have.
I just want him to break tackles, and if there's a defensive back on him, I want him to be able to drag that guy.
He looks like he should be able to run over a corner.
Yes,
it never seems to happen.
He never does. I don't get it.
Maybe it'll come along. I'm kind of like torn there because if he tries too hard to do that, are we back to fumbleitis? Because he did fumble tonight. He just landed on it. And I'm like,
that's another weird thing.
Do I want him to just go down, or do I want him to try to break tackles? I haven't made up my mind. He's so big. Wow, how does he fumble so much?
I don't know. Yeah, but that's another thing that kind of went the Bears' way. He fumbles and he just sat on it like he laid an egg. So
Cousin Nate just texting me.
Cousin Nate, jump on the live stream.
Perfect pass rating when throwing to Moore. Feels like that should be part of the game plan.
I like that. I'm a fan of that. Yeah, throw to the guy that can catch your passes. Herbert was having a good game too. He had 10 rushes for 76 yards before he went out. And
he was killing it.
We texted about
hard
this
now.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was earlier, but he's churning those legs.
During the game, we texted about this. I didn't think he could run like that. I thought.
He's fast.
Rashawn
He's
Johnson.
Quick, right?
Yeah. I thought Johnson was going to have to be your bell cow back, but man, Herbert's doing it. So, hopefully that injury is nothing serious. He went down fast when he tried to get back in the game. Did you? He got the ball, tried to break, and then immediately just went down.
It's like you don't want to criticize a guy trying to be a gamer, obviously, and be there for his team. But obviously he couldn't go, and it's probably not even wise to have tried it. But I respect that he did, and he was smart enough to be like, nope, 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 that's it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody knew it. And
Yep.
I understand the coaching letting him be back out there too. Like you
Mm-hmm.
tape it up and see if the adrenaline makes it work for the finish of the game when you know it's going to be killing you in the morning. So I think they're very fortunate to come out of this game with the mini bye.
Mm-hmm.
I have so many people hurt. It's that time of year though, right? They drop like flies.
Yep.
Um,
And
a
some,
shout out when I got to get one more shout out in
yeah,
because former student Tim
former student too.
did send a big text about the defense of the Commanders where he basically said, yeah, the front's really good, but as a whole, they're maybe not playing as well as people think. And my first thought was, well, that's interesting. What is their secondary like? Then my second thought was, well, they played the Eagles and the Bills. And then the Bears hung 37 on them. So I guess so, former student Tim.
Yeah. Yeah, and he tweeted that for our listeners. He tweeted that to make me feel better. That
Yeah,
my pregame premonition that
he's
because
there for you.
I said for some reason this just feels like the Bears are going to win this one when I didn't have that feeling before. Even week one when I picked Green Bay to win, my stomach was still like, but I think that I don't know if that was just PTSD or you know, but I don't know. It just seemed like they were going to win this one. I don't know why. And I said they'll need 35, and they put up 40, and
That's true.
so yeah.
I mean, quietly, sneaky, productive offense, actually, now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, well, the last two games. And I know Denver's D is really bad, but I know Washington's D is underachieving, but I don't think it'd be fair to the Bears to just chalk this up to a bad D. It's a bad secondary, and the Bears' star receiver did an awesome job exploiting that, and they got him the ball. Like, they
Yep.
should get some credit for that.
Yes,
And they're going to have that star receiver when they play another bad secondary in the next game.
yeah, the next two games. I'm looking at the schedule here.
And
Minnesota.
Minnesota's is terrible.
Yeah, Minnesota, and then the Raiders.
And then I don't know anything about the Raiders secondary. I know Max Crosby's an amazing player, but I haven't done any homework on the rest of that defense.
Yeah.
Those are both winnable. Like, they really are,
Oh, and
which is kind of crazy.
then yeah, I don't want
And
to.
I'm not having
far
the
ahead, but-
tank Caleb Williams draft pick conversation tonight. It's just not the right night. There's still a lot of season to play out. I will reiterate what I'll say all year, and it'll be like beating a dead horse. Go, whoever plays the Panthers.
Yeah, in 3 weeks that's the Bears. Well, 4 weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want Fields to do well, even if he's not here next year because of that kind of thing. But he's just such a good kid, and to see him
Mm-hmm.
having success, and if he keeps playing like this, if this is the trajectory, then it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if we still had him next year.
Yeah, you'd have a whole, that's the conversation for when we get further in. Now that he's playing better, potential wins, costing you, and then him regressing is a terrible scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But getting off the schneid, getting this kid a win when he's trying so stinking hard, and more too, like I said earlier, right? Like, can you imagine
Yes.
if the two of them were like, we still lost? What else are we supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel good for the players because I know they're trying, and I think that's what fans should do in this kind of moment.
Mm.
Do I think the issues are fixed? Definitely not.
Yeah.
Do I think the offense is coming along? Maybe. To be determined. Do I
Yeah.
think the defense is coming along?
Boy,
At least they got some sacks at the end. Maybe they'll play with a little more confidence. I'll say this: Flus blitzed like crazy.
he did.
today.
Yeah, and it
We
started to
definitely
work.
mentioned that.
Yeah,
some of it
did
worked. So I don't know. Like, get the rest of the secondary back. What's this
Yeah.
game look like with Eddie Jackson, who I know is a punching bag at times, but he's definitely better than Hicks. Hicks was bad,
Yeah.
and Jalen Johnson especially.
Yeah, boy, I love Jalen Johnson, but he misses a few games every
I would
year.
absolutely pay him if we can just keep him on the field.
I know, but can he stay? I will still pay him. I still will pay him.
At some point, you have to not keep creating holes.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now you're not paying Mooney either. So now you need a wide receiver 2, and you need another corner or 2. Are we really sure Stevenson's an NFL starter yet? I'm not. There's some hit or miss
early.
there. I mean, it's way too early.
Potential.
Right? Gordon's your nickel. You don't want him to be your shutdown guy now that he plays nickel well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't keep Johnson, now you've got to get a new corner. You need edge. You still need 3 tech if you have this guy still coaching you. By the way, Jervon Dexter played all right today, and Andrew Billings is actually the best player on their defense.
Yeah, he looked good tonight. He looked good.
And one last thing on the defense. I'm tired of the linebackers that we paid big money to looking lost, missing tackles, and basically just sucking.
Boy, yeah, you can see why the Bills didn't pay Edmonds.
Dude, Edmonds just overruns every play. Like,
Yeah.
what's he doing? Like, this is high school football. Break down, shuffle your feet, get in position, make the tackle.
Dropped an interception, too, in the first
And then
quarter.
Edwards dropped the interception.
Did they?
Put him in a tough play.
I knew for sure that Edmonds did, too. Wasn't there a deflection?
So. The deflection was Edwards.
It was? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And he's been pretty good in the run, but he looks like he's late to his spots in the zone. To me, like, they just look slow still, like they're still learning the defense or something.
Yeah, that could be.
So I'm trying to like not like panic overreact, but those guys are not playing up to their previous career levels, and that really hurts when the secondary's bad and banged up, and basically some of those guys are third stringers. But they played hard, and sometimes that's the baseline you need to hit when you're in a slump like the Bears were.
Yeah, how much do you think that missed field goal affected the outcome? I took a little bit of a
I think it was a big sigh of relief.
Yeah, like, oh.
I think the Bears relaxed defensively a little bit, and then next thing you know, they get a bunch of sacks. And I think Washington knew, that was our chance.
Crap. Yep.
So I just brought this up, and I guess at this point is my last thought for you.
Okay.
It's something I would normally bring up in a preview because we can be longer, but we didn't get to because of the short week. I just brought up the word slump, and I wonder in a bigger picture sense. You know, baseball, we see guys slump all the time because there's so many games and so many at bats, so much opportunity to figure out. Oh, he's having a bad couple weeks. Football, it's such a truncated season by comparison, but isn't any athlete potentially capable of just being in a slump? And it's just harder to recognize in football. What if Fields was in a slump? Like, just because it's a thing that human beings do.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of wondering if these linebackers are slumping, so to speak. I don't know. Just the baseball playoffs going and everything else kind of had me thinking about this the other day. And I was like, we don't ever talk about like football players slumping. We talk about literally all the other big American sports having slumps. Basketball, he's cold, right? He's not hitting his shots, but he's doing everything he normally does. Is it possible for a quarterback or a linebacker or whatever to be playing poorly and with less confidence for a time? I think as human beings, that's sort of an obvious answer, right?
Yeah. I mean, we saw and we heard Fields say that essentially, that he was he thought he was thinking too much and it was affecting
loose or whatever.
Yeah.
But is that kind of what like the same sort of thing, even though the terms are different? Like, we joke about the football robot stuff where it's like, hey, don't be so literal with some of this. But, like, they're not actually robots, right? Like, we think, oh, they're going to run the play and it's going to be fine and the ball's going to be thrown and it's always going to go exactly where he wants it when he throws it. Or Edmonds is always going to get there when he thinks he's going to get there. But it shouldn't realistically work that way. I don't know. It's just food for thought. I'm not sure what to think of it yet because they just don't have as many opportunities as like a baseball player over a season.
Right, yeah.
To work out of a slump.
Yeah. Is the Tampa 2 so like you have places that you have to be more than you're following a player and the ball, right? So
at least the old version of it.
Yeah, could that kind of the same thing just make these linebackers overthink, because they're the ones that are really struggling.
I would like to see. I really want to see the defense make another change. I was glad they blitzed a lot, even though it wasn't always effective. It did start to work when it mattered.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see them run some actual press man.
Yes.
We talked about this. Another thing I've talked a lot with cousin Nate about too, right? Like, what's up with big corners and never having them in press man? And do some match man. And I want to see what the linebackers look like running with a tight end, not covering a space that no one's in because the coach knows how to beat your zone. You know, the other coach.
And then, oh, look, there's 3rd and 13. The receiver's, still 5 yards in front of the defender. That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Easy first down. Yeah.
All right, well, fun win. I'm not going to call anything a big win until the record's more respectable, but I think a big win for the individual players.
Yes.
Shout out to DJ Moore. You are awesome.
Woo!
I think you just made the Pro Bowl.
5 TDs in 2 games for him, right?
Yeah. Great stats for Fields. It makes me very happy that we can talk about the numbers being awesome, so that all the box score watchers have to shut up for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
That's fun too. I gotta go to bed because I gotta take the fam
Yes.
over to almost your neck of the woods, out to Missouri
Missouri.
tomorrow for the weekend visit with
Nice.
grandparents.
Fun.
And we will definitely be back next week. I think we can do Friday on my end to preview the Vikings. I apologize we
Okay.
couldn't get a preview up for this. It's tough with the
Too
Thursday
short.
game
Yep.
with so much teaching responsibilities, but
So much teaching.
yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, I look at it like this: if I'm busy in an academic world with my specialization, I'm blessed.
That's right. That's true.
So off to sleep I
Absolutely.
go.
All right. Thanks, those of you who tuned in to watch the live stream, and thanks to those who will be listening later on the podcast. We are Barely Educated. We are celebrating the 1-4 Chicago Bears. We get to enjoy Sunday football this week. No Bears game Sunday, so you can just plop on your couch for hours and enjoy NFL football. Shoot us an email, barelyeducatedpod@gmail.com. Check out our website, buymeacoffee.com/barely_educated. If you join our honor roll, we'll send you one of these t-shirts. See, this is what the shirt looks like. Look at that.
Yeah, we're
Get your
both
t-shirt.
wearing it like a couple
Yes,
of dorks.
we are. That's the people demand it. That's what.
It was a win.
And it was, yes.
If you can't,
And
what's
of course,
the point of having these?
exactly.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
This on social, barely_educated. We'll talk to you next week. Bear down, my friends, and rest in peace, Dick Butkus.